Wow, we live in this joint, man.
Yo, welcome back, family. Welcome back. We back. He's still black. It's your
I'm
boy.
black.
It's your boy Key Stupid and your man's Black Sheep G back with you with another new and improved episode of the Contrary Sports Channel. Hey, before we start, man, I just gotta give a shout out to my guy, man. He newly married, doing
Yeah,
the right thing,
man.
starting a family and whatnot. What up, G? How's life, man? How's the
Hey,
newlywed?
ain't even like, hey, life's good, man. I'm one with God. I mean, we doing our thing. Yeah. And man, they got married, man. Been a little while. Been only been about 3, 4 months, man. But already I feel closer to God. I'm ready to keep on rolling, man. Life is good, man. That's
Hey,
all I
that's
gotta
what's up,
say, man.
man.
Life
So
is
also,
good.
that's what's up, man. Shout out to Miss Johnson too. She in the background somewhere, y'all. But
Yeah.
just happy for y'all, man. Happy for y'all. I know you've been working on this for almost 2 years now, but glad y'all finally got that done and y'all together down there in Houston, man. Yeah.
Wow, it's
So
crazy, man. It's
yeah,
wild. You never understand, man. It's wild right now, man. But it's good though. Good
yeah.
feeling though.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Speaking of Houston, man, like it's always like I think last year when we started, the Houston Texans were starting to catch some fire. Now this year it's the Rockets, man. They in the playoffs and whatnot. You
Yep.
know, Houston fell off. The Houston Texans fell off, so it ain't about that no more. We might have to catch a game down there or something, a basketball
I
game.
told you, hey, come on down, boss. I'm trying to tell you, it's
Hey,
fun out here. trying to tell you, it's
yeah,
fun.
yeah,
It's
maybe around
wild
my
out here.
birthday. Maybe around my birthday in August, I got a week off, but hey, welcome. Like I said, welcome back, family. We miss y'all. I know it's been a while. Excuse us. We just been working in the background, trying to get better, and going through and just getting better at life and going through things. But we gotta excuse us while we shake the cobwebs off. We got a couple topics for y'all. Get y'all back in and talking about sports, man. Today, G, I want to talk about three things, man. Talk
Yeah,
about
what's
some of
up?
the big moves in NFL free agency.
Okay.
It's March, so we gonna talk about March Madness. A lot of people hating on my UNC Tar Heels because we got in with our you know iffy record or whatnot. We gonna talk about that, and then to cap it off, we gonna talk about your boy LeBron James, of course, pulling up on
Hey, don't do that.
pulling
Don't
up
do
on
that. Ain't
Stephen
gonna
A.
hate my boy.
courtside, pulling up on Stephen A. courtside. I think like he tough guy in the name of defending his son, but we gonna talk about it, man. We gotta talk about it. The LGBTQ must, and when I say that, I'm talking about the B's, the bronze sexuals. They in there now. They must be stopped, man. They must be stopped.
I can't wait to get into this. I'm a new man, but I ain't changed. I ain't really changed. I'm just letting you know now. I
Yeah,
ain't really changed. So I'm letting you know. I was just 'cause I got married. It's a new year. Don't mean I ain't changed. So I'm letting you know. I'm still black.
yeah,
I ain't
and not,
changed.
and obviously not nothing against the LGBTQ folks. We just making a little joke as far as the people who love LeBron. So let's go ahead and start with the NFL, man. A lot of money being thrown around the NFL. I think a couple weeks ago, the first day of free agency, there was over $1.3 billion spent on NFL players, like first day. So people was writing checks, motherfuckers buying new cars, getting mama a house,
Go.
whatever. It's like just going crazy. Even though that Super Bowl was a disappointment, big disappointment. I really haven't been on my NFL ish since then, but I have been paying attention to what's going on in free agency, man. I'm gonna not take too much time on this, but I'm gonna go through it by division. Starting with the AFC East. Not too much noise coming out of there. You got the Buffalo Bills.
Mhm.
Just coming off the AFC Conference Championship. Once again, Josh Allen lost to Mahomes, but he did get a defensive teammate in Joey Bosa, who just signed a 1-year, $12 million deal with the Buffalo Bills to bolster their pass rush. They still kind of need another wide receiver. I know they got Khalil Shakir over there. You got the young boy from Florida, Keon Coleman, developing, and Amari Cooper, who's kind of aging, out of it. I think they still could have used a receiver, but we'll see. They got Josh Allen over there. He got paid $250 million this off season. So, they gonna be straight long as they got his big ass, but I think they need a little bit more. But who knows? Now that Mahomes has shown weakness, maybe the AFC is wide open next
Mhm.
year. I don't know.
No
Um,
diddy.
No Diddy, no Diddy.
It's crazy.
Uh,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Kirk is on some teams like the Dolphins. Ain't
Yeah.
heard nothing much from them. New England Patriots, they still boring, but they actually bolstered their defense up with Harold Landry. They got y'all's linebacker from the Raiders, Robert Spillane, middle
Yep, they did.
linebacker, and Carlton Davis from the Detroit Lions, who were also a formidable team last year. And they got Morgan Moses, the VA guy, veteran lineman. They got him, so we'll see. Don't really expect much from the Patriots and the New York Jets. They got rid of Aaron Rodgers. They let him walk. My guy's a free agent
I
for
mean,
the
they
first.
had to.
Yeah,
Well,
they had to.
he was like 50, what, 58?
He like 78 years old, man. I don't know. I don't know. His leg's 78. I don't know. He's not the same guy he
Yeah.
was in Green Bay. He could have stayed, but who knows? Grass ain't green on the other side, even though he's still in the
Nah.
green jersey. But they
Yeah.
let him walk, and they signed Justin Fields from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's back with his former college teammate Garrett Wilson. So we'll see
Okay.
if Garrett Wilson in that offense has more luck with a quarterback that's not so confrontational and whatnot. They
Makes
have
sense.
some familiarity, so we'll see what the Jets can do next year. Not expecting much. They're one of those cursed franchises, but we'll see. Um,
Gosh, man, you ain't do him like that.
hey man, it's the Jets. Jets,
Yeah.
along with some other teams, you just don't expect much from, man.
Like, all right. Yeah. You might be right. When you right, you right. Hey.
Hey, I know these things, and you just see it. Ain't seen the Jets win, ain't seen the Browns win. Some teams ain't won since we've been alive, and probably won't get that chance while we're alive. Uh, speaking of teams that ain't gonna win shit, over at the AFC North, the Browns really ain't much going over there. Their defensive lineman Miles Garrett was making all that noise about wanting to go to a contender, but they put
Mm.
that 140 million in his face. Like, I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving. Like, all right, cool. It was
How
just
much
about the
guaranteed?
how much guaranteed. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know it's well over 100 million. Well over 100 million. So
Woo.
I guess if I'm gonna lose, I might as well be getting paid to do it, man. I do the same. I
Why not?
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, he was just crying about wanting to win, but as soon as they put that check in front of his face, he shut up and like, I play for you, boss. So it is what it is with
Boss.
that.
I play for you, boss.
The Ravens signed veteran wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins over from the Kansas City Chiefs, giving them another possession receiver because Mark Andrews can't catch in the clutch, so they need somebody with some surefire hands for those 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 4s when they need a first down in the clutch, man. Because that shit, it should have been them in Kansas City and possibly Lamar going to his first Super Bowl, but Mark Andrews, I don't know what happened to him, but he dropped that pass, and I could have caught that.
Look, bro. All right, you're
I
going
could
too
have
far.
caught that.
You're going too far.
He was wide the fuck open, bro. There was no excuse. There
You
was
kind
no
of come
excuse.
on, bro. Come on, man. You kind of going
Hey,
to. You sure? You sure?
I think I would have. I think I would have.
I
I
don't
would have.
say I'm not doubting you. It's just it's different when you're on them lights. When you're on them lights, yeah, I
Hey,
don't
the
know.
pressure was on. I get it. It was a
Yeah,
high pressure situation, but
yeah,
he's like Lamar's surefied. Like, he's had surefire hands for Lamar, like, for the
yeah,
last 5-6 years. So it just disappointed me. I was rooting for them. I didn't want to see Josh Allen go. I wanted Lamar,
yeah.
who should have been MVP in my eyes also. But I was really
Yeah.
rooting for Lamar this year. He had a good season. Had
Mhm.
Derrick Henry back there running the rock. He, most
Yeah.
passing yards he's ever had, most rushing yards he's had in the season, most touchdowns he's thrown in the season. I was really pushing for Lamar and the Ravens, man. Because I knew my Green Bay Packers weren't going to do it. So
Nah.
they made a little splash. The big splash, probably the biggest, most recent news. The Cincinnati Bengals, they got both of their star receivers signed to long-term deals. And Jamar Chase now becoming the NFL's highest paid non-quarterback ever with a 4-year, $165 million contract, about $130 million of that
Ooh.
guaranteed. That rounds out to about $40 million a year for the next 4 years, not a 5-year, a 4-year deal. And then also his teammate, his Robin to his Batman, T. Higgins, who they had placed on the franchise tag for a second time originally, who's been trying to get a deal for the last 2 years. They gave him 4 years, around 115 million. So he'll be the highest paid number two receiver ever in the
Okay.
NFL. So makes Joe Burrow happy. You know, Joe Burrow still has about 3 or 4 years left on his contract after he got that $250 million quarterback. That's just any new quarterbacks coming up, they're getting a $250 million off the rip. So Joe Burrow's now happy, and that offense seems to be intact. Don't know what they're going to do in defense with Trey Hendrickson wanting a deal, but they probably don't have the salary cap for it now, so he'll probably walk somewhere. And they'll probably struggle this year on the defensive side, but at least they know with their top three offensive guys in place, they can focus on defense through the next four drafts and free agents and off seasons. They can focus on defensive players to vamp up that defense and hopefully get back to the Super Bowl with Joe Shiesty and them boys. So shout out to
Yeah.
them. They also added Oren Burks, who's a former linebacker for the championship winning Eagles, and then they also got T.J. Slatton, who was a defensive tackle for my Green Bay Packers. So a couple
Okay.
moves, but they probably need a little bit more. They probably need a little bit more. Not spending too much time on that. Moving on to the Steelers, uh, they signed wide receiver DK Metcalf over from the
Okay.
Seahawks to pair him with Pickett or Pickens. I get them confused. Pickett and Pickens. George Pickens. Don't know who's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
wear number. Don't know who's gonna wear number 14. They also get Darius Slay, another player from the championship winning Eagles. 34, but still a serviceable cornerback. You know, he's getting older, so I guess the Eagles let him go. And they also signed the Eagles backup running back Kenneth Gainwell after letting go what's the running back they had? Harris, Najee Harris. They let go Najee Harris, so they replaced him with Kenneth Gainwell. And they also got that other little guy at running back. So we still don't know the QB picture for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, Russell Wilson's still there, but there's rumors that Rodgers might go there, or Rodgers might go, to the New York Giants. I think him and Wilson are looking at the same possible landing spots if they don't go to Pittsburgh. So we'll see with that. But
Okay.
I still think the that division is the Ravens to lose. They'll still have competitive games with the Steelers and the Bengals, but I think the division is still for the Ravens to lose. And that's that. Nothing much out the AFC South. I was hoping, two-strand gang, my boy CJ Stroud and them boys down in where you at in Houston did something with the
Yeah.
offensive line, but I guess they went for veteran receiver Christian Kirk to replace Tank Dell, who probably will miss the season after blasting his knee. His knee
Man.
got blasted away in that injury. That was a nasty injury, man. Praying for him because that's one of the young guys I like to watch play football, and it was just unfortunate. This is his second big knee injury since he's
Mm-hmm.
came to the league. And they traded away all pro left tackle Larry Tunsil. So when you need to revamp your offensive line and you trade away probably your best offensive lineman and don't replace him, it's still going to be tough for CJ Stroud to get the ball to his receivers, even though he has great weapons. But if they can't protect him like we saw last year, he's still going to be in the slump because he didn't play as well as he did his rookie season this past year. Uh, Other than that, the Colts picked up Daniel Jones as a backup, 1 year, 14 million, and they also picked up cornerback Charvarius Ward from the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers must be in a rebuild because they letting everybody go. They let
How many?
Debo
How
go.
many we do?
They let Debo go. Dre Greenlaw, Charvarius
Okay.
Ward, as I just said. They let their safety go. They let I think I said Drake Greenlaw already, but they left go some key pieces on their defensive side. And Debo, if you want to say he was a key offensive piece, but they got Ricky Pearsall. They also have their other receiver coming off injury. I can't remember his name right now, but they have receivers, so Debo won't be a difference maker. But some key pieces on defense. San Francisco seems to be in rebuilding mode, and they're probably about to pay Brock Purdy, that $250 million quarterback contract. So just clean the house and probably in rebuild mode for the next couple of years. It's funny though because speaking of San Francisco, nobody is more happy for San Francisco in rebuild mode than Dallas Cowboy fans. Every Dallas Cowboy fans I talk to about free agency, I'm like, yo, what moves y'all gonna make? They're like, I don't know, but I'm just glad. I can't wait to see San Francisco suck next year. Because they've been kicking Dallas ass for the last couple of years, and I guess they want to feel good about themselves somehow by watching other teams suffer. Meanwhile, the Eagles still kicking their ass, and the Commanders too. So they don't have much to root for in Dallas either. I don't know if any
Yeah.
off season moves they made either. Um, and speaking of those San Francisco 49ers players, Dre Greenlaw, linebacker from the San Francisco 49ers, and I don't know how to say this motherfucker name, but Talanoa Mufunga, the safety for the formerly for the San Francisco 49ers. They're both
Where he
going to
from?
huh?
Where he from?
He's from the 49ers also. He's from the 49ers
Uh,
also. He was starting
I
safety for
don't
the
like
40.
his name. Is he American? I'm about to call ICE.
Talanoa Mufunga, I'll assume he's Hawaiian or
Yeah, I'm about to
you know,
call ICE. What's his full name? I'm about to call. I
Talanoa
gotta see his paper. I gotta see his
Talanoa
paper.
Mufunga. I don't think he's from the South. I think he's from,
Yeah, man.
Pacific
Hey, I'm
a
about to
Pacific
call ICE.
Islander, if you will.
Yeah, he ain't supposed to be here. I hope he paying his taxes. I ain't playing.
Hey, $750 a pop, man. $750
Yeah,
a pop. Hey,
exactly. I'm
hey,
trying to run it up. I ain't playing. I'm trying to run it
hey,
up.
hey, in this economy, yeah, we've been talking about that at work in this economy, man. Like,
Yeah.
gotta get it how you live. No offense to
Hey.
nobody, man.
Hey.
But yeah, those two key pieces for the San Francisco 49ers go over to Denver, who already had maybe a top 3 defense last year, so that makes their defense even stronger. And outside of that, let's talk about your Raiders right quick, man. They seem to they signed Geno Smith over from the Seahawks. From like maybe a top 15, top half of quarterbacks in the league. Geno Smith. Y'all did sign safety. Y'all did sign safety Jeremy Chin over from the Commanders. That was a good move for y'all. And y'all also signed linebacker Landon Roberts from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So y'all shaping up that defense. Y'all did re-sign what's that the white boy on the line that be smoking backwoods in the interviews and stuff. Max Crosby. I thought he was gonna walk. Max Crosby. I thought he was gonna walk from y'all, but y'all pay him
But
handsomely.
he know
So
what he's doing. He know what
yeah,
he's doing.
yeah, yeah. I rock with Max Crosby. I was hoping, I heard him say he wouldn't mind coming to Green Bay. We just been swapping. We did sign Nate Hobbs, a cornerback who was playing for y'all last year in free agency. Gave him a lot of money, 4 years, $48 million. It just seemed like we swapped, man. Y'all get Devontae. We took Josh Jacobs. Now we got Nate Hobbs. Who knows?
Yep.
We working together, man. We working together. We do always doing business with y'all. So that's pretty much all the splash from the AFC. Let's go over to the NFC right quick. Like I said, not going to spend too much time on this. Cowboys, a bunch of re-signings, but nothing new. Still stuck with that. Pay him for whatever reason. At least another 5 year losing for the Cowboys. That's what I'm predicting.
We can have a whole show on Cowboys, man. I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
will. We'll talk about it. I gotta wait till the season
Yeah.
start to get some new material on
I
them.
think Jerry got what Sleepy Joe has, man. He got that dementia. He got something going on, man.
Yeah,
I think so.
the
I think
first
something going on with him.
the first non NFL player was CTE. That's what
Yeah.
Jerry got, man. That's what Jerry got, man.
He do, man. He need to give it
Yeah,
up. I think it just
yeah,
needed a time for him to just sit in the back or just go on his yacht and just get away and just let everybody else handle that. That's what I think, man. He just need
yeah.
to
You
give it up.
you make too much money to be so hands on with an NFL team. Like
Yeah.
you see the minute the Commanders got rid of their shady owner Snyder, Matty Johnson, and them people come in, and the very next year they get to a conference championship, damn near to the Super Bowl. I guarantee you, the minute Jerry Jones either not wishing this on him, if he passes away or happens to pass on his team to his son Steven, the
Yeah.
Dallas will start having success once Jerry Jones doesn't want to be the center of attention and control everything because he's just stuck in his
Yeah.
ways. He's in the team's way. He's in his own way, I think. But we all know this. Dallas fans know this. But it is what it is. That's the legacy he's going to leave behind. Speaking of Dallas, there was some commotion. They let go their pass rusher DeMarcus Lawrence to the Seahawks, and him and Michael Parsons was kind of going back and forth on Twitter about it. Obviously DeMarcus Lawrence been with Dallas all his career, and he probably was a little butthurt they didn't want to pay him again, but he's over 30. Probably on the back end of his career. I wouldn't pay him either. And when he took exception to that, in his introduction conference to the Seahawks. Of course, Michael Parsons, who talks like Draymond Green does. He's like the Draymond Green of NBA as far as podcasting and always making quotes. He said something and they were going back and forth. So it's just like he just a little butthurt that they didn't want to sign him, but it was the best business move for the Cowboys, if you can call it that. Um, let's go to the let's go to the championship. The current defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate this was the
Man,
worst case scenario. I didn't want the Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl, but they did.
stop
Um,
hating, man.
I'm
Stop
not
hating.
I'm not hating. It's not even
Hating, man. Stop hating, boss.
bro. It's not even the teams, bro. It's the fans, bro. And one fan, he's my homeboy, right?
Uh huh.
They beat Green Bay twice this year, and I lost to him the game before the championship in our fantasy league because of Saquon Barkley. So the Eagles have just been like a fucking gnat at a barbecue to me, like just annoying the fuck out of me all season. But well deserved. They had the best team all year. Clearly, great defense. Speaking of that, they signed Zach Bond, the middle linebacker, played outstanding all year. I think he's only in his second or third year, but he was raising hell on the field this year. And they also made Saquon the highest paid running back ever, extending him to a 2-year, $40 million contract. So he's the first running back to average 20 mil a year
Oh,
in guaranteed money. Where the last time I think it was Zeke was making like 15 in his heyday, but
man.
no running back has averaged 20 years per on a contract until Saquon Barkley. Well deserved. He's just hard to catch, man. He's fast, powerful. Saquon was a beast this year, and it's well deserved. They did lose a lot of people on defense, but that's how it goes when you win a championship. Because when you win a championship, everybody's cachet kind of rises, and they want to get paid. So they lost Milton Williams, Josh Sweat,
Okay.
Brandon Graham, who's aging anyway. They lose all of them to free agency, and they lost, as I just mentioned before, Darius Slay went to the Steelers, and I believe C.J. Gardner Johnson went to the Texans in a trade. So they're kind of naked at DB, but they still got two really good safety. Well, not two. Yeah, they got rid of Blankenship too, so they still got Cooper DeJean back there, a couple young DBs, but they'll be fine because that pass rush is still intact with Jalen Carter and all them boys up there. So Eagles,
Jaden. I like Jaden, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
he dirty. He tried to injure Jordan Love at the beginning of the season, but he has really played up to his pre-draft hype at this point, and he's
Like
gonna
that
get
top
paid soon.
rolling, man. Some men just how they do it, man. Hey, man. Hey, listen. I learned that I don't know what they be saying, man. Sometimes they be miking them up, but you don't never understand like the trash talking they probably be going at each other. And ain't no telling what he said. He had to show him who he was. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. I don't. Hey, you never know. So hey,
Hey, sometimes when you bring that felon mentality to the NFL, it works, man. It works.
go, go,
It is what it is. I can't hate on it because the
go.
game is built on anger and testosterone. So, you
It
know,
is. It
all,
is
all,
really
all the
built
more
on that.
all the more power to them, man. And
Yeah.
lastly, out of that division, the Commanders they do sign defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw, another San Francisco 49er defense player that leads 49 San Francisco, and also Debo Samuel. They signed Debo Samuel to a veteran friendly deal. Nothing too much. I think he makes that offense a little more dynamic. He's not going to get in the way of Scary Terry as far as targets. He might be number two in targets because they let their young guy go, De'Ami Brown, who's now in Jacksonville. But I think Debo Samuel is a good piece to help that off, give Jaden Daniels a lot more versatility to work with on that offensive side. Um, I was very
Smart.
I was very impressed with the Commanders this year. I was low key rooting for them because I like Jaden Daniels. He's a humble guy. You know, just like Jordan Love, doesn't seem to get rattled, doesn't seem to get caught up in the hype. His mom is holding him down, telling him to stay away from these gold diggers and whatnot. So he has a
Right.
bright future, man. He has a bright future, and I'm looking forward to see him ball next year as well, his second year. Um, as I mentioned before, my Green Bay Packers signed Nate Hawks from the Raiders. Gave him a lot of money for a guy that's like injured half the time, but hey, we ain't got nobody else. We let Jair Alexander. He's probably gonna walk. He hasn't left yet, but he's probably gonna walk. And
Yeah.
and then we also signed guard, offensive guard for the 49ers, Aaron Banks, to bolster our offensive line. We did lose AJ Dillon, our backup running back, and he went to the Eagles. So the Eagles running game is just more formidable now. That's what pisses me off too, because you put AJ Dillon, who's a tank, behind Saquon Barkley. Saquon
Uh,
Barkley probably going to play like 3 quarters every game and be rested for the playoffs, and AJ Dillon can run the rest of the time. Behind that offensive line, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, even more so this year than last year. I'm just saying. Um, Nothing much else coming out of our division. Not going to waste time on the NFC South. That's just trash altogether. Over to the NFC West, the Rams did sign Devontae Adams to pair with Puka Nacua after the departure of Cooper Cup. So you give Devontae Adams probably his best quarterback
yeah.
and Matthew Stafford since leaving Aaron Rodgers. They're going to be an offensive force to be reckoned with. If their defense can play well, watch out for the Rams. They played well last year. You know, snuck up on the playoffs and beat the shit out the Vikings in the first round. So
Dogged them. Like dogged them.
yeah, everybody
Oh.
was talking about Sam Darnold, having the best year of his career. I
Uh-huh.
told it. I was telling everybody Sam Darnold ain't been under them lights before. It's good to have that good, regular season, but he ain't been in them playoffs after being on the Jets, the Panthers, and every other sorry team you can name. He ain't been in them under them lights. So I thought the moment would be too big for him, and it proved to be true. And also, lastly, like I said, San Francisco in rebuild mode. Speaking of Sam Darnold, he got signed by the Seahawks, and like I said, Cooper Cup also went over there after DK Metcalf departed for the Steelers. So the Seahawks still that cusp of the wild card playoff spot. Last year, they probably get a little bit better, with being a little bit better at quarterback, and still got a good receiving core with Cooper Cup being a veteran presence, and you got the young boy Jackson Smith and Jigba, probably going to take the number one road now that DK is gone. So that's it for NFL free agency. Not to bore y'all with a bunch of stats and stuff. I know that was kind of lengthy, but just kind of getting our feet wet again, man. We're gonna go over to the NBA now.
Oh
Um,
dang. That's my style,
yeah, yeah. March Madness going on. I said we go touch on North Carolina, but I ain't really go talk about it because North
Why you
Carolina.
acting like that? But why not?
I don't want to talk about it because the argument apparently is we only beat one other team that's made the tournament, right, in our whole 30 plus game schedule, but we're only one game worse than Kansas, who finished the season 21-12, and we finished the season 20-13. I don't know, man. I just feel like the way we played in the recent ACC tournament, we were down 24 against Duke, battled all the way back to get within one. Uh, one of our players was at the free throw line, and the junior guard, I forget his name, but he stepped on
In the what line?
the free throw line.
Oh, okay.
Free throw line. So we it's 4 seconds left. We trying to tie the game at 74. We down one.
Right?
And right before our young center makes the free throw, one of our guys like tries to fake like he's going for the rebound to get the other team to jump, and he slips his foot into the lane, and they call a lane violation. So the free throw, even though it was made and tied the game, turned the ball over, and that's game.
Ah.
But up until then, we have been winning. We didn't play bad in the ACC, and the ACC is a top three, college division conference, if you will. And for us to now have a bad record in the conference, only losing 7 games, so we went 20-7 within our own conference. I think we had a valid resume to get into the NCAA. I don't know why everybody's up in arms like North Carolina is just some, you know, out of nowhere team. The names kind of matter too. The names kind of matter. So there's also some. They have a problem with Texas getting in similar situations. So I don't know. I need to see who, if we didn't get that bid, who they would have gave it to? Maybe a MEAC team or someone who played well in their conference but had a better
Yeah.
record. I don't know. They don't necessarily make them a better team because when it comes down to it, North Carolina still can compete with the top teams in the country, even if they didn't play well this year compared to
Mhm.
some of these subpar teams. So that's all I really want to say about that. I mean, it's RJ Davis last year. He's in his fifth season. We got a bunch of young guys with potential. So I think
Yeah.
we started off the season poorly, but towards the second half of the season, we started winning some games, gained some momentum going into the ACC tournament. Got through the first two rounds of the ACC tournament rather easily. So I feel like our future, we got some good things going to build on that. After
True.
RJ Davis departs, and it should be a better. It should be no question next season if we far as our status, far as getting in the NCAA tournament. I don't really see what the big deal is. Everybody's up in arms. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, right? But if it was Kansas, if it was Duke in the same situation, I think you would put those teams in the NCAA tournament, opposed to smaller conference that you probably never heard about. Teams that played well in those conferences, I think you still
Mhm.
would choose the name, because the NCAA is still about that money, and definitely now that they're
That's
paying
Skrilla.
student definitely now that they're paying, student athletes, you're going to still want to recoup some of that revenue for yourself too. So why not put the names and the teams that everybody knows in the NCAA tournament? That it's really not. Not like we had a negative win percentage. It's not like we went 13-20. We won more games than we lost. So
Yeah.
that's just my opinion on it. Funny situation, G. I don't know if you know, but there was a story. This apart from North Carolina, did you know that next year the VCU men's basketball team, every player on that team will make $300,000 a year?
No, they won't. You playing?
Yes, 300,000 VCU men's basketball players will make 300,000 plus a year going forward. That's just an agreement they came up with. You could be,
How? Hold
you
on.
could be.
How they making
Hey,
300 by
what
doing that,
what do you call it? What
bro?
what do they call it? The shit.
Compensation with free labor. What?
No,
Uh,
that NIL money. It's
that's
something they
crazy.
came up with. Just everybody makes the same amount, whether you're the star player or the 12th man on the team. Everybody will make 300,000. So if you go to VCU right now, and for those who don't know, VCU is Virginia Commonwealth University, right here in the heart of Richmond,
Yeah,
Virginia. If if you go to VCU and play 4 years, if you if you do it right, you can be damn near a millionaire after taxes. If you play 4 years at VCU now
that's
for the men.
crazy,
I don't know about the women, but that story came out a couple months ago. The VCU men will make, I think it was like 346,000 a year for each player.
bro. That's crazy, man.
Hey, that's money. Money don't sleep, man. Money don't sleep, and it's moving. That's how the world move. And VCU has definitely, since they made that 2011 run to the Final Four, they've been bringing in that dough. People watch VCU and
That
they
was
have some
14
real.
years ago, man. That's crazy. 14 years ago, they still talking about that. That's
Hey,
crazy.
I will never forget. I will never forget, man. The city was going crazy. It was a good time, man. It was a good time. When we had Brandon Roselle and them boys. Local,
That's crazy.
local, local hoop hero from Highland Springs. It was a good time, man. So shout out to them.
Crazy.
Congratulations to them. Uh, as far as the NCAA tournament, I think we'll get over it. I think everybody will get over it once they see North Carolina progress in the NCAA tournament a couple rounds. They say, okay, this team belongs here. So that's all I'm gonna say
That's
about that.
crazy, man.
Um, so lastly, right? I think I'm gonna save the MVP discussion for the NBA next week when we come on. Far as who deserves it more between Shea Gillis Alexander, who's balling, and also Nikola Jokic, who's balling too in his own right after a triple double. Right, we can get into all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I want to address a couple of weeks ago in LA at Crypto.com Arena, the New York Knicks versus the LA Lakers. Um, your boy Stephen A.
Mhm.
Smith, my uncle, you know, was in the
Oh
building,
man,
sitting
drunk uncle,
sideline, sitting
retarded uncle,
sideline.
slow Negro.
Hey, if it's New York Knicks, Stephen A. go be there, and he loved the warm weather in
Yeah,
LA, so it's the
man.
perfect time for him to pop up.
That's your
But
boy. Listen, I don't see Stephen A as somebody that's just a guy that's very smart. I just don't see it that way for the most part. But everybody's a
mhm,
little bit different. He's just a clean cut dude that actually sits in the barber shop and he knows how to how
mhm.
to pull out that wow factor when he's talking. I mean, he's doing a
Yeah,
lot of movements. He's doing a lot of stuff. You know how to talk to people. 'Cause I see how his voice go up and down. I know that because I read books on that. That's how you get people's attention and stuff like that.
yeah,
But I don't see him as somebody so credible, man. Even though he's done his thing and he knows how to move through the industry correctly. But
mhm.
most of the stuff I don't pay attention to him. But I'm gonna let you go ahead and get to it because I still don't like him from Jason. Remember Jason got on him?
Yeah, yeah. True that.
Whitlock.
True that.
Whitlock was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Jason Whitlock was on his ass. That's it. They said
Hey,
that's
he
his
won't
home.
playing. He said a lot of truths. He said a lot of truths about
He did.
his book and all that. So I don't know. But
Yeah,
I'm all for people to get that Skrilla. Get that Skrilla. If you get that Skrilla, go ahead, Steven. Salute to you, man. Get that Skrilla, man. You know?
at the end of the day, that's what we're gonna respect. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. He did just sign a new deal with ESPN, well over 9 figures. So he getting
Woo!
that chicken too, man. He getting that 100 mil
Ain't
money
that
too. So
Skrilla?
yeah,
Oh,
if it's one thing this country gonna respect is money. So and like
man.
you said, Stephen A. does know how to maneuver through the industry. But
Mm-hmm.
speaking of that, doing this game between the Knicks and the Lakers, before I guess it was a pause or maybe it was at halftime or during a commercial break.
Yeah,
Uh, LeBron takes it upon himself to go over and confront Stephen A. Big 6'8", 260-pound LeBron pulling up on Stephen A. I guess he took exception to something Stephen A. said about how he's handling his son Bronny being in NBA, which we would talk about that a lot more this year too. But he almost looked as if he was trying to degrade Stephen A. and show him up in front of an audience, being bully. And Stephen A. took exception to this that we found out afterwards. But during the game, I think he handled himself with class. He didn't engage with LeBron.
yeah,
And come to find out, man, this is where I took exception to it. Stephen A. mentioned it on his podcast after, maybe a day after it happened. Stephen A. was there with some of his. They said he was with Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm first, but he was also with some executives and some of his bosses, right?
yeah.
So I think LeBron knew all this, so he went over there to go try to so-called checking him, and knowing Stephen A. can't really fight back or argue back on him or engage. So
He ain't
I
about
thought
that
it was
life.
I thought it was kind of a weak move. And get let me get to this point. A lot of people are saying that LeBron is defending his son. He's just being a good father and blah blah blah. I get that and I respect that. Shout out to all the fathers out there. I respect that. But if you come down from the 300,000 foot platform that LeBron is on and come
Yeah,
down to the real world. You and I have sons that play basketball, say they're in high school and somebody in the crowd yell they trash after they make a bad play or something.
yeah.
Are you gonna go confront that person or you just go talk trash back? You know, everybody thinks their kids are, you know, the best, and which they should, and it's natural. But now that Bronny is in the NBA, like you can't use the dad card. I don't think you can use the dad card. You already did it to get him into the NBA in the first place. I think LeBron is, this is why he got mad at Stephen A. in the first place. I think LeBron is doing Bronny a disservice by trying to do what he's always done in his career since he's gained the king mantle and try to control the narrative. Try to control the narrative that Bronny is better than a lot of players in the NBA. Bronny deserved this from his hard work ethic in college and whatnot, even though his
Hmm.
stat line says otherwise. You know, you are once he stepped foot in this league and got drafted. I get the guys on Gil's Arena like to argue he's the 55th pick. You never heard anybody argue about a 55th pick.
Yeah,
No, to Stephen A's point, LeBron did this. He got his son into the NBA.
you
Yes, he
did.
was the 55th pick, rightfully
You
so. But
did.
what did we hear? And we talked about it on the show beforehand. Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, GM, the agent
Mhm.
for Bronny James, and a load of other players and talent, called
Yeah.
every team before the draft and said, "Do not draft Bronny, or he will go over to China or Asia somewhere immediately." So y'all coerced this whole plan to get Bronny to LA as the 55th pick, rightfully so.
Mhm.
But don't try to act like he's not above criticism. Don't try to act like he's just another 55th pick when y'all orchestrated this by manipulating, other teams in the league. And we know this was all about Bron. It's really not even about Bronny. It's about LeBron's legacy and what he wants for himself, which any dad would want. I get that. But with LeBron, he's very, I don't like throwing around this word, but LeBron comes off very narcissistic. Narcissistic, as if he's above criticism, as if his son is above criticism now that he's in the NBA. When you're the king or you crown yourself the so-called king, you're gonna be suspect to criticism. You know what I'm saying?
Tell
Like,
him.
you're not above it. Like, Jordan got it before he won championships.
Mhm.
Kobe got it. Even after he won 3 championships with Shaq and Shaq left, Kobe still got it because, oh, Shaq was the real Superman. You were just a sidekick. Like, he
Yeah.
didn't complain about it. He went there, kept balling with the team who drafted him, and eventually got his 2 more championships.
Very
LeBron
true.
has LeBron makes LeBron is scapegoated every year for his team not winning a championship. He is, you can't say anything about, he crowned himself as the GOAT. Like, no, Kobe didn't do that. Jordan didn't do that. He in the podcast said, "I'm the greatest basketball player of all time." He said,
Yeah.
"I had the hardest championship with that suspect as bubble championships during the pandemic." LeBron very much likes to. I think he does very much like to control the narrative around himself and his legacy. Any negative, you know, perspective from any respectable media personality, he he kind of gets sassy about,
Yeah.
and I don't know what's the problem. Like, the way you defeat all that is just continuing the ball and continue to break records, and he is. That's the crazy thing. LeBron is continuing to break records. He's continuing to, you know, play well into his 40s. He just crossed 50,000 points. It's all great, but I feel like if he shut his fucking mouth,
Mhm.
like we were used to players back in the day, it would have more allure to it. But now it just seems like, he's stat padding. Like, he just trying to, he can't win championships, so he's just, trying to do other things to say, oh, Jordan ain't do this, to kind of make the argument for the GOAT case. But you don't even have to do all that. You should let your work speak for itself. You shouldn't have to speak for your work. That's how I feel
Mhm.
about it. And when it comes to Bronny James, I feel like, okay, it was cool. Like, I'm not even hating on the fact that they, kind of told other teams not to draft Bronny. It's okay. Like, who wouldn't do that in Bron's position? Like, he's a very powerful person. He's a billionaire, right? Who
True.
wouldn't do who wouldn't do that for their son and their legacy? But once he's in the league, let him do him. You can teach him things behind the scenes and on the court and during practice. You don't even have to broadcast that, but he's going to be open to criticism, especially if you're trying to have JJ Redick force him to get minutes and critical games like that. Philadelphia, there was a Philadelphia game where they put him in the first quarter to guard All Star Tyrese Maxey, and Tyrese Maxey cooked him. And you
Yeah.
saw, like, okay, he plays well in the G League. He's been balling in the G League, which is like, he's looks like a star in the G League, but when he's still not there yet to compete against the best of the NBA.
Very
And
true.
J and I don't want to blame JJ Redick. JJ Redick, he's getting credit for, the Lakers' success because ever since they traded for Luka Doncic, we're going to talk about that more too. Can't I? So much I want to talk about. It's been a lot going on, y'all.
Yeah,
But
man. Because I'm gonna get on that
uh,
LeBron thing when you done, man. Yeah, you already know.
okay, yeah, I'm about to wrap it up, man. I just think LeBron going to confront Stephen A. was a uh, one of those classic examples of, you go try to bully who you think you can bully because you think he little or can't do nothing to you. Like when Isaiah Stewart pulled up on LeBron walked away, and Isaiah
Yeah.
Stewart won't smoke with everybody. He tried to start it with Steph the other day, almost had to step in and, sneak him or whatever. But, because you don't do that with light skinned nation. But We gonna talk about. Speaking of light skin nation, we back. We gonna talk about that soon too. But
No, you're not, man. Y'all
with
stop.
Jimmy Butler, man, come on, man. Don't get me started, G. Don't get me
Exactly.
started.
Yeah. Come on, man. Come on now. We gonna do that. We back now, so we got plenty of time. We gonna do that. We gonna do that. But it's LeBron thing, man. Listen, I'm all about men being men and this masculinity game. It's not about being the toughest guy. It's not about being the loudest guy, but it's about standing on principles. So
Mhm.
LeBron James don't have a homeboy, a cousin, an agent, maybe a teammate that can step to him and tell him the truth. Me as Black Sheep G, I hope we small channel, but if you see this, you wrong. You 100% wrong, Wells. You know what? Your nuts drop. You about almost 40 years old. You 40 years old, right, Howard? LeBron, about 40?
40,
40
40,
something?
yeah, 41, 41,
Yeah.
41
Yeah.
years old.
Your son is a grown man. Taking the white girls to prom. He in the NBA, he knocking stuff down. So that means in my eyes, you're a grown man. That means you have responsibilities. So if another man steps in front now, I need Bronny to go ahead and say something, not your daddy.
Hmm.
You feel me? So
I agree with that.
that's one of the things that I've been seeing permeate through manhood now around men is that sometimes men don't want to let men just be men. Now I understand, like you said, you're a father, and I ain't got no kids yet, so I can probably film a little bit. Don't talk about my son and all that. I'm gonna stand up for my son. But what you're not understanding that making Bronny look like a little soft little boy, like he can't, do his own battles. Let him get on the mic. Let him get on social media. Let him go. I guarantee he'll be able to go call up Mr. Smith. Hey, boss, man, I like certain things you got to say. I know we're on camera now, but you mind if I go on your show? Maybe we could talk a little bit, man to man. Since you critiquing my game as Bronny, as a man, that's what he should be doing. You feel me? So you stepping up, going to the court and getting face to face with Stephen A, and you tell him, "Don't talk about my son." Your son ain't a prince, a king of nothing. He is a ball player. He can get critiqued just like every other basketball player out there.
Exactly.
Opinion just like an asshole. Everybody got one. So if we
Hmm.
say something about him, or Stephen A say something about him, that's what we want to say. We may be wrong, we may be right, but everybody can have opinion on things, man. You feel me? Some people say this stream sucks. You think I care? We gonna keep on going.
Nope.
Don't pay attention to them. We
Can't
keep
stop one
on going.
person.
Everybody got an opinion. Some people say it's the best stream ever. So you staying up and doing that in front of you for the world to see? Nah, play ain't a good look, player. It ain't a good look at all, Bron. Ain't a good
It's
look at all. You
it's
feel
it's
me?
really
That's
it's really
yeah.
not. Something you said. It was a good point. Like LeBron, I brought this up. Last year when we were doing a segment on Bronny.
Mhm.
That thing I hate most about all this around LeBron and Bronny James, which makes me think LeBron is being narcissistic about this whole situation and trying to control narratives and worried about his
Uh-huh.
legacy, which was Stephen A's point of what he took exception to. We don't hear Bronny speak. Why is that?
Boy, have you heard many interviews from him, man?
Nope.
None. Not on a
I
podcast, on an Instagram live, something. I mean, you got to give the fans something to talk about sometimes. Say, I'm doing this. I mean, here, I ain't paying attention. Hey, drop them nuts, nigga. No diddy. Say something, man. Come
and
on, man.
I think it's all part of the narrative that a lot of media, like Gilbert Arenas, he backs Bronny and he likes to argue that 55th pick nonsense.
Yeah,
I think they know to keep that kind of as a barrier for him. Like, all right, don't let Bronny speak because he's just a 55th pick. We know he's not that good. He sucks. And other guys that are in his position probably you would never hear on the mic either, which makes sense.
yeah,
But he's if he's you're LeBron's son, if this is what's drawing people to seats. Like we went to I took my brothers and my cousin to a Wizards game and we went to go see LeBron back in
yeah.
January. We
Go.
went up
All
there
right.
and I'm telling you, when I say the Wizards suck, right? They won like 10 games all season. We weren't going for
Hey,
the Wizards. We went to
ain't
have a chance to
DC.
see LeBron because we didn't see Kobe or Jordan. But
Yeah.
the fans in that arena the whole game they're just chanting Bronny's name. They want to see him ball. It wasn't even about LeBron. It was about Bronny. Like, as much as everybody thinks that Bronny is getting hate, people want to see the kid succeed and they want to see him play because you're
Yeah.
the one of the goats of our game's son. They want
Mhm.
him to be successful. So all this narrative pushing about, just because he gets one criticism from a notable voice in the industry like Stephen A. is just, that's not the voice of the people. So why are you getting so uptight about it? Like, it was a real weak move to me.
Very
And
weak, man.
the thing is, Stephen A. has a relationship with Rich Paul, LeBron's agent. He has a good
Yeah.
relationship with him, from what Stephen A. says. And what other media members say, I know Nick Wright said it over from Fox. He said Stephen A. has been trying to sit with LeBron for years to get an interview or something like that, just to talk, just because they never did an interview before, and LeBron has declined him for years. But now, in a minute he says something you don't like, and it's pertaining to Bronny and how you're handling that situation, you want to go confront him in front of national media to show
Yeah.
him up.
It's
That's where I
crazy,
have a
man.
problem. That's why I have a problem with it. Like, the same way, you know, everybody says Stephen A. could have called LeBron and told him he's tripping, but he can't get to him. In the same way, if LeBron had a problem with Stephen A., he could have addressed that off the camera. Called him. He has connections like Rich Paul.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was a weak move, and I really, LeBron, as great as he is, if he didn't try to stay as the center of attention all the time, his greatness would be elevated a little bit more than it already
Yeah.
is. That's just my opinion. And
Man,
this is
facts. It's
no
like
bias.
he acted like one of them baby mamas that be at what's it called? At
At
the little
Crabby
kids
Zura,
game. What's it called? No, everybody played it. No, if you was good, you
Pee
played
Wee,
it.
Pee Wee,
Uh
AAU, AAU.
AAU, yeah, like the
Yeah,
little baby mama at AAU going off at the ref or somebody doing something at their 12-year-old kid. That's wild there, but still, I see him like that, man. He's grown, man. Isn't there a time and a place? People will say this is cool, but now there's a time and place when men become men, that means that they got to step up and talk for themselves, man. He gonna have to, Bronny gonna have to find his voice. He
yeah,
a man now, man. He can't have pops doing everything for him, man. That's just how it is, man. Everybody got to grow up, and like I said, I can understand. I can barely understand because I ain't got no kids, but I can imagine once that kid, I see him as a kid, but when he starts getting 22, 23, in my mind, it's probably like, dang, he's still my little boy. He's still there. But the way you got to realize, man, he grown, man. You got to let him do his thing.
exactly, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure this will blow over like anything else when Stephen A. probably is not going to harbor on it any longer. From what he says, ESPN's like, hey, you in the algorithm right now, so you got to address this. So he did on First Take the next day, and then also he did later on that night, the next night on his podcast. And why wouldn't he? Because his podcast has a lot of viewers. He also went to Gil's Arena last week and talked about it. So I think he's done with it. Hopefully, LeBron doesn't do this again. It's a real bad look to me. Um, it 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 doesn't make you kind of validated Stephen A's point in my eyes. He got under your skin so much, telling the truth, that you felt like you had to confront him on national TV. He clearly got to you. The truth hurts, and you showed that you were hurt by it. And you know, like I said, I don't think Bronny crying behind the scenes because he said, "Hey, his dad is putting him in a bad position by trying to control his career and whatnot." So, to each his own. That's all I got for today. Bron, stop tripping. Let the boy be a man. He is a man. He's not in
Yeah.
college anymore. You took him out of college. You put him on this pedestal that, hey, he's bet. You said he's better than half the guys in the NBA on Twitter. The tweet is still there. I don't know if he took it down. The tweet is still there. You said that 2 years ago when Bronny was a senior in high school. Let that show improve now. Don't try to. You can't guard him from the world.
You
You can't
can't,
guard
man. You
him
gotta
from
let
the
him
world.
go. You can't,
Yeah.
man. I see you be a
Yeah.
father, but you gotta be able to let him talk, man. It's just
Yeah.
how it is, man.
Yeah. Too much going good right now for the Lakers, even though it's funny, LeBron is supposed to be nursing a groin injury, but they showed him jumping up and down at a G League game rooting for Bronny like jumping up and down like nobody with a groin injury would. So it's funny to me. But um, the
Amen.
Lakers have too much good going with this Luka Doncic addition. They were number
Yeah,
2. They're now on a four or 5 game skid where they're dropped to the 5th seed, but still in the playoffs, still very much alive. LeBron should be back this week to play, so the Lakers could make some noise in the playoffs. Don't let this off court stuff about yourself be a distraction to the team, and then we gonna be blaming them for why y'all didn't play well and lost again ultimately. So
yeah.
that's all I got this week. G, you got any more to say about our boy Bron?
No, man, I think I said enough, man. Still an awesome guy. I mean, I'm sure he a good dude. I think everybody has to make mistakes somehow, man. But hey, you have some homeboys around you be like, bro, let that man, let it chill, boss. Let it chill. It
He
ain't
he
working.
clearly he clearly has yes man around him. That's all that is. I
Yeah,
I could
yeah,
just tell. I could just tell. Nobody telling LeBron, no, because if clearly if you do, he has a problem with it. But
exactly.
we'll be back next week with another show. Like we alluded to, we got plenty more we could be talking about. We could talk about Light Skin Nation. We're gonna talk about Luca and the new look white Lakers and some more. And some more. We got so much more for y'all, and we're glad to be back. Hope y'all have a good night. Till next time, we out.
All right, y'all.